folks? Welcome to another episode of Fanatics Frenzy. And today, it's your boy over here, Dennis. And I'm glad you're here with me today. And I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I've had a pretty calm weekend, nothing too crazy, just enjoying time and just, doing what I need to do. But today, it's just me today, and I'm here alone. I'm missing my co-host today, but hopefully next week we'll have him back. But I just wanted to come in here and check out with everybody and just to give you an update on what is going on the sports world right now. So, for the preview, we have the big fishes in the NFC and the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk about them a little bit, and then we're going to go into the Eagles and the Lions about who is taking the NFC, division title home, come in January or for the championship game. But first off, weekends, I will start rolling into the Eagles first. So the Eagles played the Panthers over the weekend and they beat them, but to be very honest, it wasn't a very, 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 convincing win, to be very, honest with everybody. They struggled a lot as they have in the first quarter. For whatever reason, they just struggle in the first quarter and then they pick it up and then they end the games pretty well. But after the game, there's just a little scuffle. I wouldn't say scuffle, honestly, just a little misunderstanding going on in the Eagles locker room when the reporters ask AJ Brown, who is visibly upset about not getting a lot of targets, over during the game. And the first thing he said was, they need to face the offense or something along the lines of that. And, it's very, very interesting because the Eagles are 11-2 and their next couple games are Steelers, Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants. And honestly, I'm not the biggest Eagle fan, but they're playing very well. Their quarterback, running back, two receiving combo, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are probably one of the, the best, if not the best in the, NFC right now, probably at least top two and maybe, top five in the NFL in total. So the Eagles are a good team. I can't deny that they are a good team, but it's just that, I just don't trust their coach, Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is not trustworthy. And even though they're 11-2 last season, they went 10-1, and then they went on to lose about six games and got, embarrassed against the Bucs in the playoff game that they played. But right now they're looking like they are going to get the number one seed in the NFC, which will be a big break for them, or it will be very huge for them because then they won't have to travel anywhere and they can be at Lincoln Field and just hammer opponents and whoever comes in. But the other big fish team in the NFC will be the Lions, who are 12-1 right now, and with their coach Dan Campbell and everything that's going on. We all saw that game last Thursday where they went for it on fourth down and they got it and basically closed the game. And it was all over Twitter about how ballsy he is and how brave he is. And, to be very honest, that Lions team, they're great, with Ben Johnson calling the plays and all that kind of stuff. And you can see, with the two running back, combo that they have going on, Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, they're very unstoppable. Like it's hard to stop them. It's hard to stop that, that two guys or the two running backs. And the Lions are clearly, also a great team with their two running backs. They have Goff in the back slinging it. And, you have Laporta, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, they have Jamison Williams and all these guys. I think when it's all said and done, it's going to come down to the Lions and the Eagles, battling it out for the championship game, NFC championship game. But it depends on where the game is at. It just depends on where the game is at. if the Eagles get the number one seed, which it looks with the rest of their schedule, it looks like they should get the number one seed because the Lions still got to play the Bills. They got to go to play, Chicago Bears, and then go to the San Francisco 49ers and also play, the Vikings. But I would honestly just, take the Eagles if, the Eagles end up with the number one seed and they have to play the Eagles at Lincoln Field, coming the end of January for the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. Um, Also, I just don't trust, their coach. I just don't trust Dan Campbell in, big situations. If it comes down to between him and Nick Sirianni, it's just gonna be a clown fest, honestly, who can ruin it for who, for their team. But I would take, Jalen Hurts, unfortunately, and AJ Brown and Devonta Smith and Saquon Barkley against the Lions, and then that is just that is just how I feel, and I feel like if it comes down to that situation, the Eagles, if the game is at Philly and Lincoln Field, I would definitely take the Eagles over the Lions. So those are the two biggest fishes in the NFC right now, and at this moment, they are the team to beat regardless of how much you don't like any of these teams, or regardless of how much you don't like Eagles or even the Lions, they just are the standard right now. And I wish I wasn't saying this, and I wish I was saying, I was praying for the Cowboys to, do something. But, right now the Cowboys are just not good enough. And talking about the Cowboys, I will go, into their game that they played earlier on Monday night against the Bengals. And that game ended 27-20. But you could clearly see that, Coach McCarthy has changed his ways. He had Cooper Rush maybe throwing the ball 32 times, and he rushed the ball at least 18 times, 16 to 18 times, I believe. And that just I think that would be a recipe for success for next year, for when Dak Prescott come back and everybody is healthy, because he talks about this West Coast offense that he runs, Coach McCarthy, and he has Dak throwing the ball 38 to 45 times a game. And as much as I like Dak, that is just not a recipe for success. That's just the facts. That is just not a recipe for success. You are going to have some sort of a running game to complement your passing game. Because all you do is throw. The defense anticipate that you're going to throw the ball on second, third downs. That's ways that they can play against your quarterback or against your offense. So if Coach McCarthy can figure a way to, establish the running game next year with, Rico Dowdle, who is playing very, very well this year, or at least he's been playing very, very well the last two games. And if he can stay on that trajectory for the rest of the season and take that momentum into next season with Dak Prescott back, and, Rico Dowdle, having taken that next step into his career, or the step that they thought he was going to take in the beginning of this season that he didn't, and it took him a minute because, they reached out for the online, they had a couple of rookies in there in the online. So if they get comfortable, they can establish some sort of a running game going into next season with Dak throwing the ball, put a cap on it maybe 35 times, and then having Rico Dowdle, running the ball, 18 or 16 or 20 times a game. They have dogs, man. They're gonna be, they're gonna make some noise in the league. Of course, CeeDee Lamb is a star. I mean, that, nobody can argue that he's a star. We know what Dak can do. With last year, he was second in, MVP votes. And then, of course, they do need to find somebody, a receiver that is going to be a second, target. That way we don't have to spam the ball to CeeDee Lamb 15 or 20 times a game. if we can take some of that pressure off CeeDee Lamb, where I don't know who it's going to be, if it's going to be Tobey finally take that huge step that he was supposed to take this season. We all heard about him working out with Dak all off season, and we thought he was going to be good, but he's been okay. He hasn't been very, very good. He's just been okay, honestly. And, you know, Brandon Cooks, for whatever reason, they forget he exists in the beginning of the season, and then they go into deep into the season, and then they finally realize that Brandon Cooks is on the team, and then all of a sudden he's catching touchdowns here and there, and he's doing great. So, I think if the Cowboys can figure that out, how to get a running game to complement Dak when he comes back next season, because this season is just lost. I mean, this season is lost. Because look at the fashion that they lost against the Bengals. I mean, if you watch that game, and if SK was here, he would have told you that the Cowboys do always find innovative ways to always lose the game. I mean, you block a punt, and you touch it, and you can secure the ball, so you touch it, so then it becomes a live ball, and then Bengals pick it back up, and then they go on to go score. So the Cowboys just keep finding innovative ways to always lose games. But the next thing I want to get into the Cowboys is, the Cooper Rush situation right now. We all know Dak is out for this season. Cooper Rush has been in there, I believe, 2-3 games, maybe 4. And he's played okay. He's played okay. He's a backup. I'm not expecting him to put 3-4 touchdowns on anybody. There's a reason he's a backup. But I think, it is time to put in Trey Lance, because you traded for Trey Lance with the fourth round pick, okay? And he's not had any meaningful games, under his belt, and his contract expires after this season. So then that becomes, how they always talk about how Cowboys always value their draft and all of that, but we gave away a fourth to get a guy that basically is just on the bench and is not doing anything at all. So we know what Cooper Rush can do. He's a backup that if the team is basically going, is going well, everything is going great, and your starter goes down for a couple of games, he can come in there and win you maybe one of those games or maybe 2 of those games. But he's not a guy that you can rely on. So why don't we get a look at Trey Lance? Because Trey Lance, he can sling the ball, he can throw the ball for sure. I don't know how accurate he can throw the ball, because we've not seen him in meaningful games. I know we watched him in that playoffs game. Not playoff, that preseason game against the Rams, and he had about 4 or 5 picks. But, it's not, I think, there's more to him than just those games or just that game. So why don't we bring in Trey Lance, and have Trey Lance play maybe the rest of the season out, see what he's made up of. Maybe nothing, then oh, okay, I wasted a fourth round pick. But maybe he shows some signs of an NFL caliber quarterback. Then you can be like, oh, okay, so I did trade this guy for a fourth, so now he's showing some signs, and maybe there'll be a team in the NFL that might want to look at him. That way you don't lose that draft that the draft that you used to trade for him. So maybe it's time for the Cooper Rush experiment to be a little over. And then let's go to Trey Lance and see what he got. I mean, how much worse can it get? It could get worse, but this season it's already, in the dumps. It's not like you're fighting for a playoff spot. You're not. It's not like, if anything, if he comes in there and he's that bad, maybe you get a better, draft pick. And then, I don't know, maybe you want to draft, Genty, that is going to complement your quarterback because you just signed your quarterback to a 60 million deal contract. You're not moving off him. You just signed your your receiver to 35 million a year. You're not moving off him. Michael Parsons is up to be paid, and I think he's gonna get the money. So if anything, if you get a good draft spot, all you do is you pick something that is going to complement the pieces that you already have. And I know there were reports this morning that came this morning or last night that were saying that Jerry Jones has said that they're sticking with Cooper Rush and all of that. But Jerry loves the cameras and whatever. But I don't know. I know he controls so much in there, but I think Coach McCarthy should take a stand and maybe have Trey Lance come in there one half and see what he got. That could help us, and we see what if he comes in there and he's bad, then you know what, we are wrong. The fans are wrong. We the fans are wrong. And then you can put in Cooper Rush, but we already know what Cooper Rush is about. We want to see Trey Lance. We want to see the guy that you wasted that 4th-round pick on. So that's that about the Cowboys. The last thing I'm going to get into today will be another sport that we haven't spoken a lot about in here. Is Chelsea, or soccer, basically. And anybody that knows me knows I'm a big, Chelsea fan. And I don't know, is Chelsea back? I don't know. You watched the game over the weekend against Tottenham Hotspurs at the White Hart Lane, or Chelsea fans used to like to call it a 3-point lane. We went in there. We went to their trap and took over their trap. We saw that with Kopama with that ballsy penalty kick that he had. But this is I have been. This is why this is my first time talking about Chelsea on the podcast or in front of a lot of people, is because I know Chelsea is in a rebuild basically, but you got to give Enzo Maresca credit for what he's done. When he got there, the first things that he did was tell some players that he didn't need was like, hey, you need to find a club or you're just going to be on the bench. You're not even going to be on the bench. You're just going to come in there, train, play a few games in the under 20s and the 21s. But I'm not going to use you, so find a spot. And because of that, Sterling left. And that Sterling experiment in Arsenal is not going great. But Enzo has done a hell of a job with Chelsea. And I just want to go on record to say Chelsea, I know we are second on the table right now, but we are not title contenders. We are not title contenders. Nope. We're in a rebuild. We're not going to say we're title contenders and then something doesn't go well and then everybody's like, oh, y'all said you're going to win the title. We didn't say that. Yes, we are second, but we're still rebuilding our team. That's just how it is. But Enzo has done a great job. You could see that the team has some sort of a fight. Before that, last season with Poch, if Chelsea had gone down 2-0 in the first 20 minutes of the game or the first 15 minutes of the game, that's it. That's it. They would not be fighting back. It got to a point they took the joy of even watching, Chelsea out of me, but I can finally recognize my club. I can finally recognize Chelsea as a team that, that always fights to the end. And then we got that win. So, I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to win any trophies this season. It is Enzo's first season. We do need. I think we do need a goalkeeper at some point next season. Maybe some reinforcements on defense. Maybe a left back. One center back. Enzo Maresca looks like he's figured out the Enzo Caicedo and Lavia situation in the midfield, Kopama, is top three footballers in the world right now. I mean, you can't ask for much. We got Neto, on the wings. We still got uh Nkuku, Nicholas Williams, and all of that. Up front, I don't know what the ceiling for Nicholas Williams is, but he's been impressive this season as he was last season. He was impressive last season, but he's been more impressive this season also. And I don't know what his ceiling is, but if any top striker comes on the market, I believe Chelsea should make to make a move. Starting next season, we can start declaring that we're title contenders and all that kind of stuff. But right now, we're just enjoying our football. We're playing good and amazing football. We're beating the teams that we need to beat. We're not getting into a lot of dog fights with anybody. We're crushing teams that we need to crush. Games that it's a 50-50 coin toss or, coin flip. We're pulling some out and we're losing some. I mean, I believe the only two losses Chelsea has this season is, Liverpool and Manchester City. I mean, Tottenham was supposed to, be good this year, but we just smacked them. I mean, it was 4-3, but if you watch that game, you just could see Chelsea was clearly the better side. So that's just go to say that, I can recognize my club. Chelsea is back. I'm not saying they're winning anything yet, but we are back. So that's just a few thoughts that I have today that I want to share with our audience. As usual, thank you for coming in and listening today. It was a great time. We're having fun over here doing this, and it's always fun to hear back from everybody that's watching on YouTube and on Instagram and telling us what we're doing well and what we need to improve and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate all these people that watch and listen on Apple Podcasts. But this is why I am today. But it was really fun to speak to you guys today. Again, always engage with us on social media. Tell us, rate and review me or us for the things that we do. But appreciate you guys for listening. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.